Hi everyone,
Hi.
welcome back to This Is Marriage.
And as you know, on our last session, we were talking about love. The heart is getting slimmer.
Slimmer, meaning, anyway. So, we have to have patience when it comes to love, okay? We know that, but more specifically, you can't have your definition and then put it on someone else and expect them to love you in that way.
What do you mean?
Meaning, you're defining how others love you. So, I buy flowers. I can't say that if you don't buy me flowers that you don't love me. I can't say just because you don't holler me on Facebook. Get me? That means that you don't love me. That's not it. Why are you staring at me?
I'm listening to what you're saying.
Yeah, we can't. You don't have the right to tell someone you don't love me because they're not doing things for you the way you do for them. You are.
They have their own definition.
Yeah,
or their own way of expressing it.
Yeah, because they got their love language in it. We know about that love language. Some people like to be touched. Some people want to hear it. So everyone's got their way of. Your arm's not around me. So everyone's got their way of receiving and giving love in it. You can't say to them that they've got to do it this way. But if you want to meet that partner, you have to reach out to them in the way that they like to be reached out to.
You have to communicate. You have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
So the first point you would say is that you can't define love strictly on your own terms and put it on somebody else. Arguments are not a sign of falling out of love.
It's true. Why you say that?
Because it's just an argument. It could be about the bed not being made up properly. It could be about the classic brief on the floor. It doesn't mean that it is a reason to split or that it's a reason to say that you're fallen out of love. You just need to evaluate the situation and maybe you make up the bed instead of the person who can't make it up properly. Or you may have to pick up that brief more often than you desire. It doesn't mean that you've fallen out of love.
I agree.
That's a short point. Next.
So sex. Whoa.
Sorry, that word.
So sex is not love. Let's not confuse it. This is one of the reasons why, especially in religion, it is discouraged from having premarital sex because it can make you think that you're in love when you might not be. Or the emotions are so intense that it's something that is seen as love, but it's not. It's really saying that what we're bombarded with is telling us that when you have sex, you've hit that spot of love, or you're in love, or you've fallen in love. It's not necessarily the case. About sex isn't in itself isn't love, but it's a part of a loving relationship.
It's an expression, a physical expression of a loving relationship.
And if you ask me, I like to put it as it's the result of a loving relationship. And that's why it can be misleading in that the sex might slow down for a while. That can happen for a number of reasons. It could be the kids, or it could be illness, or it could just be a little bit depression, whatever. But it doesn't mean that there's no love in the relationship. It just means that in that season, the sex gone down a bit. So,
and it could be that there's a time of lots of sex, and lots of emotions. Do you know what I mean? And in a love context, it could be, this is how I just want to demonstrate my love to you on a regular basis.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is that sex can be, although it's one of the greatest things anyway, it's a thing that can make you think that your relationship is doing well after you have that argument or a series of arguments, and then
it's the best makeup thing.
It's the best one.
Yeah.
It's the best one. It's the best makeup.
It's the best makeup tool.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean
But
that
it doesn't solve the problems. But it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right, man. Because, if you're in that relationship, it's all right. It's all right. But it doesn't mean that the problems are fixed. Yeah, it's true. That's really the point I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
It can make you think that you're there. Like, oh, last night we've done it. We've made it. And then later on you have the same argument. And you're thinking, what the heck? It's like we was up there 1 minute and down there the next. What? You're allowed to have sex, man. You're married. Have it. But don't let it tell you you're there when you ain't. Does that make sense?
Don't let it cover over issues.
Yeah.
But let it be an expression of your love.
Yeah. I believe that the thing that has created the greatest turning points for our relationship, as far as I'm concerned, is communication. And, I used to hear that word for years in a marriage and think, communication, what does it mean? Because we always talk, everybody talks, but actually talking about things that might be scary to talk about. It could be anything from your secrets to the things that if I say this, she might kick off, or she might be scared to know that's my history and stuff like that. But when it comes to us, I think that communication is a thing of not just talking. Like, most couples will talk, but talk about the deep things about yourself, or sharing secrets about yourself, about your past or your desires, things that mean something to you, to now and again have that conversation. And Juanita was, I must say, always responded. And so when I say communication, I'm saying talk deep.
Talk about love.
Talk about love. So you can love.
Yeah. Make time for love. Talk about love so you can love.
Yeah.
You got to talk about it in order to go through, because you can go through it quite blindly with not understanding each other's definitions, not understanding each other's way of expressing it as well, and then really miss love.
Yeah.
If you don't talk and communicate about love.
Yeah, and I think I just need to summarize what I'm saying again in that it's we talk every day, but I'm talking about the essential kind of communication, which is just, do you know me? Do I know you? What do you not like? And I'm not talking about the brief. It might be the brief. Not that I've got brief on the floor, but boxes. Yeah, I have boxes on the floor, but not brief. But I'm talking about who I am, my needs, my desires. Do you want to know? Do you want to know?
And that is the love conversation.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah. Not being afraid. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm not going to be afraid of what you're going to say. I might not like it, what you have to say, but I'm going to tell you. Hopefully you receive it. That's love.
Mm-hmm.
Will you listen to me?
Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable. And it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever truth wins out. Love never gives up. It never loses faith. It is always hopeful and endures through every circumstance.
I want to say this. The fact that we are talking to you about this means that we are on a road. So I don't want you to perceive us as at the end of this journey. Otherwise, we wouldn't have read the scripture to you. The scripture is keeping us on track. And so, when you look back on our lives, we've shared with you some of it.
If you could look back.
If you could look back on our lives and see where we've been, seen the conflict and seen the confusion and seen the differences as to who we are and where we're coming from. You have to understand that if we can make it, you can definitely make it this far. Just this far, And it's not about 15 years, 16 years. It's not about, it's about where you are now.
Mm-hmm. As far as you are now.
Yeah, you got to make it. It's not about how long you've been together. It's just about how you do from now.
and how you love from now.
And that love isn't, and when it says that love isn't irritable, that doesn't mean you won't have an irritable moment. But it's how you manage that irritable moment. You might need to just walk out. You might need to, but that doesn't mean that he don't love you or she don't love you. But if you are loving that person, you will always check yourself and be improving on yourself. And if you fall, you get back up. And if you fall, you get back up. And the other person, if they love you, they will do their best to be patient. True. And that's it really. Just begin to implement what you've learned today, step by step.
So we always end by saying, love never fails, stay the course.